Welcome back to Random City Sports Ballers. Okay, so we're talking about the draft strategy that I have where I use the army of pitchers, and for batting categories, I look at home runs and RBIs. Well, why do I do that? That is my strategy for making the playoffs and overall winning leagues. In this league right here from last year, I can use that to show you why I can do that. It's because I use head-to-head leagues instead of rotisserie. In rotisserie, your statistics for each category build up throughout the year, and you try to get as high as you can in each category, and that gives you points for the overall year. In head-to-head, you play each week against another team. And you can see, let's show, for example, this week, the final week, the championship week, what the result was. I won 7-2, and for batting categories, guaranteed I was going to win home runs and RBIs. Runs, I can sweep up runs along with those about 50% of the time. Stolen bases, as you know, I don't care about stolen bases. Doesn't help me as a category in head-to-head because of what I'm going after. Batting average, I'll win once in a while. And then in the pitching categories, look over here. We tied in wins. I took saves. He won strikeouts because he got 10 more innings than I did, which was a good job by him. And then I won ERA and WHIP because I just simply had superior pitching. And, well, you take a look. I did use a lot of pitchers, and so did he. He had some really good pitching for his starters, but some unfortunate. Wow, he had Spencer Strider had a horrible week. That's unfortunate. But anyways, let's take a look over here at the league, and I'll show you what happened throughout the season. For the season, you can look at the head-to-head stats and see what your wins and losses were in each category. You look at runs. I'm down here on the bottom. At runs, I finished 12, 12, and 1, so 50%. In home runs, I was 17, 7, and 1. That's a good showing. In RBIs, I was 17 and 8. I never won stolen bases, however, I tied twice. And even though I had horrible batting average, because I don't care about batting average, I was 10 and 15. I learned this long ago. I previously, one year, I went for stolen bases and batting average as my main categories. And wow, that was such a nightmare because you can see here, I was 10 and 15 with one of the worst batting averages in the league. But when I had the best batting average in the league, let's take a look. The best that they did here was 17 and 7. Well, for me, it was more like 14 and 10, like this fella here. And stolen bases, this guy, he took his stolen bases 19, 3, and 2. So if you do that, you could be right, and you could get amazing numbers. But I found that with the way that I play, it works out better for me overall. Wins, I was 13, 7, and 5. Saves, 13, 8, and 4. Strikeouts, 16, 8, and 1. ERA, 13 and 12. And in WHIP, I was 17 and 8. I did focus a little more on WHIP in this league than I did on ERA. Strikeouts, I always focus on. However, Choby's Expos right here, they had amazing amounts of wins in their strikeout category, which is odd because I know I beat them in strikeouts. What was the total? Strikeouts. Choby's Expos. Yeah, okay, I beat them by 13 for the season. So, you can see, although I had a better ERA and WHIP than he did. This is another team. Here, there were two other teams that played the army of pitchers really well, I thought, last year. That's Choby's Expos, Hat's first 50. Primo Guerrero kind of did as well. And we take a look at the win-losses for each of them in that category. Let's take a look. Let's see, Choby's Expos, Hat, Primo Guerrero, and myself. So all four of us performed really well and really similar in the pitching categories. However, in whip, I was a little more dominant. Me and Hat's first 50 were more dominant. And it does pay off. Let's go back to the league and see how those other teams finished. Let's see. There's Choby's Expos, Hat's first 50, Primo Guerrero, and myself. And so what that shows you is 4 of the teams that had an army of pitchers went into the playoffs. And let's see, Primo Guerrero against me right there in the final. The big thing to take away from all of this that I'm telling you, grab a draft strategy for yourself. If you're playing head-to-head, pick the categories that you want to go after, and you've got to dominate those. If you try to balance your team too much, you're going to find yourself watching everybody else in the playoffs. Try to win categories that will get you 6 or 7 points per week. It's going to be difficult to get 10 points per week. You'll do it once in a while. Everybody who drafts properly will once in a while have a really good week. So anyhow, make sure that you draft a strategy that you know will work. I know that the army of pitchers plus home runs and RBIs does work. I've seen it work with stolen bases and batting average because you get runs along with those, but I've tried it myself and it did not work out. However, that was about 4 years ago, and stolen bases were a lot more balanced back then. There weren't the 40 and 50 stolen base guys back then. It just didn't exist. So what I'm after now, I'm still going to stick with the home runs, RBIs, army of pitchers, and make my way into the playoffs doing that same strategy. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Best of luck with your draft, and don't forget to go out there and have fun. The draft is one of the most fun parts of this whole thing. So go out there, have fun, and prepare for the season, fellas.